Sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, friends, neighbors, comrades, all citizens of the world, wherever you're going, wherever you've been, and wherever you're at, we welcome you to the Live from the Heartland show here on YouTube. New episodes air every Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time with individual interviews posted throughout the following week. I'm your host, Michael James, encouraging you to take the chain from the brain to get back in the people's game, because it's time to move from the lower level to the higher, from the shallower to the deeper, from the one-sided to the many, and from the abstract to the concrete. So without further ado, let's get it on. Hello, all you citizens of the world. I'm Michael James, and it's time for another edition of the Live from the Heartland show. This one is for the week of January 31st, and we have a number of guests. We'll see if everybody hooks up. A couple of them are out in California. We're going to have Lynn Orman, our musical producer, giving us a little talk, and then we're going to have the recording artist Matt B. from Chicago's South Shore, who is up for a Grammy, and we're going to have a little chat with him and root him on. The Grammys are Sunday, the 2nd of February. And then we're going to, on our second half of our show, it's a thing I look forward to every month, is talking with Don Rose, a longtime organizer, analyst, and he's going to give us his views on Trump's first days in office. So with all that said, a couple of things that I'm going to share that I've come across that are of some interest and note. In the news, an Idaho woman who became known as MAGA Granny and spent time in prison for her role on January 6th says she is rejecting Trump's pardon. Yay. I broke the law. I'm not a victim. The message is, if I took a pardon, that what I did that day was okay. I was wrong. Trump has done a lot of other stuff, a lot of bans. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but there is a new website you can go to called Newtown. That's capital N, Newtown, capital A, action.org. And it tracks all of what Trump is doing. It's a Google Doc, I believe. Keep track of what Trump does and where the actions are around it. So that's Newtown Action with a capital N and a capital A.org. And this is a little bit good news. Last week when we were recording, we heard that 26th Street, which has been the home to Mexican migrants for, almost about a century, things were real quiet on the street, and we didn't know if it was the cold or if it was from people not wanting to be picked up by ICE. And the word is that the Trump border czar said the very well-educated here in Chicago are defying ICE after an immigration crackdown leads to about 100 arrests locally. Guy's name is Tom Homan. He made his comments on CNN on Monday, saying Chicagoans informed about their rights have made arrests more difficult. I'm going to leave it at that because that's pretty good news. And let's hope we get more and more of that. Because there's a lot of bad stuff. You can no longer get Spanish language translations on the White House website. Trump has canceled refugee resettlement until further notice. It goes on and on. And I want to just point out there is a new news service. It's on YouTube, and I guess you can subscribe, called the Midas Touch Network. And it's a guy named Ben Midas, and he is kind of bragging these days about how Fox News is all uptight about this new site. And one thing they did report that I think is crucial is in the first election since Trump was elected again, in Kansas, a state Senate race where Trump had won the district by 21 points, a new Democratic senator is coming on the scene. He won the election. Okay, we're going to take a musical break, and then we'll be back with our music producer, Lynn Orman, and then after that, we're going to be back with the Grammy nominee, Matt B.
Don't you take my home.
Welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of January 31st. And our first guest is no stranger to the show. It's our one and only Lynn Orman, who is our musical producer, has brought us all kind of guests over the years, including today, a little bit later with Matt B. And Lynn is out in California for a number of reasons, including the Grammys. And she's going to give us a little update on what she's up to. And Lynn, let's start off by who was that tune from that we brought you in with?
Oh, that was for a local LA producer, singer, songwriter by the name of Fernando Perdomo, who I bumped into last night at a fire relief concert. I was so excited. His song is called Love is Where the Home Is. It's on Bandcamp, and I'll give you all that information. And the proceeds, of course, are going to raise funds for music. I believe it's Music Cares. He's already, so all proceeds. And this is what has happened here. And as you know, whenever you work with artists, there's a renewed sense of purpose, raising additional funds and support in every way possible. So many organizations have just come to the forefront, including Guitar Center. I'm working with, the music power to unite people in community is really extraordinary. These are people who have lost everything. Last Saturday night, I went to the She Rocks Award, which Samantha Fish won an award. Christine Vinicki from our home base, Shure Microphone. She is the new CEO of Shure Microphone in Niles, Illinois, and worldwide. And she received a She Rock Award. And one of the performers there, her name was Star. She was a recipient, but she and her daughter performed Her House Burned Down with her Steinway piano, which was the Steinway piano that was used in The Wizard of Oz. I mean,
Wow.
just like the amount of loss is kind of instrumental. So there's a lot of help. There's a lot of support to unite and uplift. You would have loved last night, Michael. It was a fire relief. It was called the Show of Helping Hands Fire Relief Concert at a place called the Canyon Club. And the immediate family band played, the Loving Spoonful. The Last Living Monkey played, Mickey Dolenz, Daydream Believer. I mean, it was really, it was outstanding. T-Bear, Steve Postel. I mean, it was kind of a love fest.
This Sunday, going to go to the Grammys?
I am, although Friday before that, I will be attending and I'll be reporting for you from Music Cares. Music Cares is the largest fundraiser, of course. It has turned into a great fundraiser for the Grammys this year, and they're honoring the Grateful Dead. So Mickey Hart, of course, Bob Weir, Bruce Springsteen will be performing, Dolly Parton, Billie Eilish, just a myriad of amazing performers. And I'll share some photos and video footage with you of that as well.
Well, thank you so much for all you do for Live from the Heartland. We hope you have a wonderful time out there and spread good Chicago vibes. We're going to have a guest coming on right after you, Matt B., and he is from South Shore.
Michael, can I tell you one more thing before I leave?
You certainly can.
Okay, our wonderful guests that we had over the years, Ella Jenkins. I started a Grammy Children's Breakfast in her honor 30 years ago, and we have one coming up this Saturday. And we have all the nominees this year. Alice Cooper's nominated for a Grammy, believe it or not, Children's Grammy, John Legend, and a number of independent artists. But we are also partnering with the Harmony Project, which is an after-school program. Many of the kids, 7,000 kids, as a matter of fact, in the LA area, have lost their schools, their homes, their after-school programming, and instruments. And we will be there in partnership with them to help them supply music for the children who have lost everything.
Okay, keep up the good work, comrade sister, and we will see you
Thank you,
back here in
brother.
Chicago real soon.
Thank you, brother.
All
Peace.
right, everybody.
In a place I call my own, may the blessings overflow. There is one thing I don't know, how my story's gonna go. Oh, I don't know, will I be reachable, or value something more? Then I wait till I get old, when I turn 94. 'Cause all of my life I've been down the road, waiting for time to blow, searching for joy and love, the way that could lead me home. Got sweat on my face, blood on my feet. Just hear me again, I make it for my sins. Below ya mi bikwele zikanga. Can you hear me, my ukutandaza? Unina pweze buzizo.
Welcome back, all you citizens of the world. Our next guest is a Chicago native from South Shore, went to South Shore High School. It caught my attention because my dad grew up in South Shore, although he did go to Hyde Park High. Our next guest is the one and only Matt B. Once upon a time, it was called Matt David Benson. Goes by Matt B. He's been up for a Grammy before. He's up for a Grammy this year, and we wanted to check in with him and root him on. So hello to you, Matt.
Hi, how's it going, Michael? How are you?
It's going good. How are you doing out there in LA?
I'm doing great. You know, we had our ups and downs with all the craziness with the fires, but things have slowed down and people are in good spirits and they're ready for the Grammy Awards.
Well, we're rooting you on because we love Chicago musicians. Chicago always deserves more attention than it gets. And I'm just learning a little bit about you. So give us some history. I know you. Your first album was over in Japan. You had an album in China. You sold millions of copies. You have a new album out. You're up for this Grammy. Give us a little info on you and your recording.
Yeah, so I had 2 number 1 albums in Japan concurrently, and that was in 2014 and 2016. And then me and my wife, we started an independent label, Vita Records, which has been around since 2014. All of my deals have been through the label in partnership with different labels throughout the world. And at this moment, we are preparing for the Grammy Awards for my album, ALKEBULAN II. My first nomination was in 2022 with my song, Give Me Love, which was off of my album, ALKEBULAN I. So this album is very much so a continuation of the story, and we're just really excited about it.
Give us a little on the meaning of ALKEBULAN, because I screwed it up, I think.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's honestly one of the reasons why we named the album ALKEBULAN. It was not only a beautiful name, but it's for educational purposes as well. And ALKEBULAN means Mother of Mankind or Garden of Eden, and it was thought to be the indigenous name of Africa prior to its colonization. So there's a lot of power in a name. So in a way, we are kind of giving that name back to the continent.
Oh, that's nice. Well, Matt, give us a little bit of your own history. Like, I'd love to hear more about South Shore, growing up down there. My only visits there were in 1942 to visit my grandparents.
Wow.
And then I've gone back a number of times and driven by, I think it's on Euclid Avenue, 7300 or something.
Yeah,
where my
yeah.
dad had lived. But you talk a little bit about growing up in South Shore and being a Chicago guy, and going to school, et cetera, getting into music.
Yeah, so my family is very musically inclined. I remember my grandmother, God rest her soul, she was born in 1919, and she was traveling all throughout the United States during the time of the Green Book era, which was an era when Black people, it wasn't really safe for us to travel throughout the United States. So it was a way of like kind of guiding us through the safe places to stay, hotels and things like that.
Yeah.
And she traveled with her brothers and her family. And then she eventually ended up settling in Chicago, originally from New Orleans in Mississippi. And she was thought, I mean, she worked with the father of gospel music. I can't remember his name, but she worked with him during a time at Pilgrim. Pilgrim Baptist Church, which was on the south side of Chicago. So I say all that to say music is deeply rooted in my family. It's something that we eat, sleep, and breathe. And for me, it's just continuing that legacy of not only my grandmother, but just my family. That being said, being from the south side of Chicago, growing up in the South Shore neighborhood, going to school at South Shore High School, it definitely had its ups and downs. I think the neighborhood is a lot different from when you went there in the 1940s, but still that energy of Chicago, that Chicago spirit is still there. Chicago is a very diverse city with a lot of different genres of music just kind of all blending together in a melting pot. And I had a lot of exposure in those different genres of music. And I think that it reflects in what I'm creating today because I feel that my music is very eclectic.
And when did you first pick up an instrument? I mean, you probably, people were singing to you all your life, even before you were born. But when did you actually remember picking up an instrument or singing? And give me that, and then I'll get another one in there.
We had this really, really old piano. I forgot what brand it was, but it was all beat up. It was out of tune, but we carried it from one house to the next as we moved. And I just remember always just trying to figure out songs on that piano. I would hear things, whether it be theme songs to television shows or cartoons, and I'd be trying to figure it out and just playing by ear. My grandmother also had a piano. I'd play with her piano a little bit, although she wasn't really too fond of that. and it was just fun. Like it was one of those things where once again, my family, we eat, sleep, and breathe music. I remember just being 3-4 years old and all of us getting together for the holiday season, and my family group of 5-10 people just breaking out in all these different harmonies in the living room. So it was just for me, it's something that is very dear, very special to me, and it's just something that just comes really naturally because of the exposures that I've had throughout the years.
Matt B., do you remember your first performance in front of people outside your home and your family?
I actually do. So outside of just going to different nursing homes and things like that during the holiday seasons and giving back, because my mom was just very big on that, I recall going to high school. I was about 13 years old. And I was with my brothers, and it was right before the December break. And we got on stage and we sang in 3-part harmony. And the school just went wild. Like it was so loud and people were so excited, and they couldn't hear us. So they stopped us from singing. And the faculty was like, if you guys don't quiet down, then we're not going to let them sing. So the room went so quiet that you could almost hear a pin drop. And we sang the song. I think it was a Christmas song. I don't recall exactly which one it was. And then the crowd, the audience just, like they just went nuts. It made me super popular with the girls, which I really liked at the time because, I was a kid. So it was just, to me, that was my first real taste of like, wow, like this is something that I really, really want to do.
Did you get paid for that gig, or do you remember the first time you made money doing a gig?
I wish I did get paid for that. I should contact the school and be like, where's my money? No, I'm kidding. But no, I didn't get paid for that. I would say my first big paycheck. I mean, there was $50 here, $100 there when me and my brothers were performing, doing talent shows and things like that. But my first big win was in 2014 when I got paid through the label. And at first I thought like, I might not make any money, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. But I got a really big check. And when I got that big check, I was like, wow, this is insane. Like I had never seen that much money before in my life, let alone in music. And it just was really exciting. And it made me think to myself, like, this is really something that I could do on a professional level. It's not just something that I'm doing just because I'm passionate about it or that it may be a hobby, but it's something that I could do professionally.
Are you living now in LA permanently, or do you come back to Chicago?
I haven't been back to Chicago in a few years now.
Come on, hurry back.
I'll tell you what, if we win this Grammy February 2nd, one of the things that I want to do is I want to bring it back, and I want it to be in the city, and I want people to touch it. I want people to feel it. I want to share that energy with everyone.
I sense you've got good politics and you care about humanity. Elaborate on all that. What inspires you, moves you in a musical direction with meaning?
Yeah, I think that inspiration continues to change as I continue to evolve and mature as an artist. But as it stands in this moment, definitely 100% God first. My family, my children, and just everyday life, seeing the different things that are happening throughout the world, having conversations with amazing people such as yourself, and just taking that and drawing inspiration from it and trying to put it into the music. For this particular project, ALKEBULAN II, it was very much so me trying to figure out where I came from, trying to figure out my ancestral roots, and doing an ancestry DNA test and finding out that I'm majority Nigerian, and then taking that information and trying to put it into the music, which then just had me embark on this crazy, incredible journey for this album of going overseas, recording at Abbey Road Studios with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, which was an 80-piece orchestra. It was absolutely amazing. That experience I will hold on to forever. And then from there, going to Africa and filming a short film around the album, which was incredible. And then premiering that short film at the Regal Theater in downtown LA, which was also incredible. So it's like the moment of just like multiple dreams just coming true over and over and over again. And I think that that's a testament to just hard work and dedication and perseverance.
They got a Regal Theater in LA, huh? I used to go to the one here in Chicago.
Are you talking about the one on 79th? And yeah, okay, but that's a different Regal Theater.
I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I saw Al Hibbler there and Ola Tunji.
Really? Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So what are you working on next? What's your big plans? You got a couple minutes left. Give me the news.
Well, God willing, we bring this Grammy home February 2nd. We continue to push the album. We have a beautiful short film behind the project. So we continue to push that short film as much as possible, not only for the benefit of the album, but also for educational purposes all throughout the United States and abroad. Potentially continuing the second leg of my tour, the ALKEBULAN tour. So that would be really cool to just continue to push that for 2025, and obviously working on more music. So another album is obviously inevitably on the way. And I'm really excited about that.
Hey, Matt, what was your feeling when you first got a Grammy nomination a couple years back?
I don't think that feeling ever gets old. And honestly, there's a reaction video to this nomination. And my wife and I, we just hugged one another. We cried and we were just elated. We were filled with joy. And it's one of those things where it's a once in a lifetime opportunity and you don't know when you're going to get another one. So every time a nomination comes through, thank God this was our second one, but I don't think it'll ever get old. I think tears will continue to be shed regardless of whether it's my third, fourth, fifth, or 10th. And we will forever be grateful.
Well, we're rooting for you, Southside brother.
Thank you so much.
Southside.
Thank you.
We're going to look forward to meeting you in person. If you come here, you play here in Chicago, we'll be there. And we're going to play your music from ALKEBULAN II as we go out. And I want everyone to stay tuned here on the left end of your dial or however you're getting live from the Heartland, because we're coming on with Don Rose. We're going to talk politics because it's a heavy time we're in. And it's good we have musicians out there cheering us up, because all of us have to do a lot of struggle. And we have to stand up for justice, humanity, all good things.
Amen to that. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you
for having me.
We'll be right back.
keep praying. Yeah, I've been working harder than before. Korani, bafowetu, nodadewetu, koliwe, Korani.
Okay, all you citizens of the world, welcome back to Live from the Heartland, the second half of the show for the week of the 31st of January. And once again, it's the one and only, the incomparable Don Rose with a little bit of analysis about all things political. And one of the things that's on a lot of our minds and we expect, but I'm not sure if we're rooting for it or not, but will Trump go too far? I was watching Nicole Wallace yesterday, and one of the things that they kept bringing up was how a lot of people were all about deporting violent, immigrants, but they're not so big on all the things that Trump is doing. But the question they raise, do people really care that much? Even if they don't really like what's going on, are they impassioned or do they care? What do you got to say about what's going on, Don?
Oh, well, it's clear there's basic support for these deportations, and they're trying to exploit it, having Dr. Phil there with a camera to watch the agony.
I hate that guy.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oprah has done some wonderful things, but when it comes to introducing characters like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, she's done us a great disservice. But that's to another side. I think the areas to look for where he is not going to be able to help and where his actions are probably going to make things worse are in the economy. First of all, there was nothing he has ever been able to do about grocery prices, although he promised to do something on day one, and all they've done is continue to go up. Prices, if he imposes these tariffs, prices beyond the grocery store, for new cars, for your refrigerator, for whatever, are going up. And I think this is the area where he is going up the wrong path and is not going to meet expectations, and I think people may get hip to that. As I say, there are things that they basically support that he's doing, but when you promise that you're going to lower prices at the grocery store and you're going to make things better, and he can't and he won't. So I am, what should I say? Lousy as it is, I am optimistic. I'm optimistic that he has already gone too far and things are going to catch up with him, which makes it probably easier, hard to look ahead for 2 full years, but probably has already enhanced the potential for taking back the House.
One of the good signs that I got from this new, it's a new website called the Midas Touch Network. I saw it there in a few places, is in Kansas. There was an election for a state senator in a district that Trump won by 21%. This was, I think, yesterday. We're recording a couple of days earlier. And the Democrat won by a large margin. I don't know if that is an indication of what's to come, but we do have 2 congressional races coming up right now in Florida. We have people meeting about immigration and about swing states, again, getting ready for 2026 elections. What's your basic take on all that? We also have Peters the senator from Michigan is not going to run. So getting ready for elections, where are you at?
I do not expect to take back the Senate and it's made even harder with Peters, although Michigan has done pretty well in local elections. The only thing we've been hurt in Michigan is the actual presidential, and but in the presidential before that, it was one of our biggest victories. So
I think Pete Buttigieg is talking about running, right? He moved from Indiana to Michigan.
Yeah, to Michigan. That would be a good possibility. He seems to be very popular, and there's always the question that you have to ask, just like when a woman runs, can a woman win this office? Well, can a gay man, an openly gay man, win this office in this environment we're in? So we don't know until it happens. And he's otherwise a splendid candidate, very popular, and he has never been afraid to go on Fox News and answer questions. And, he makes a very serious impression. So if that comes to pass, we've got, I would consider, a reasonable shot there. But it's the House that I am more optimistic about winning, and we have to see how the races boil down. But people are many Congress people from borderline states, swing states, marginal states, are going to have to carry on their backs all these ridiculous candidates they've been putting up. Hegseth is not important to the average voter, and probably even a lot of Republicans don't like him, and they know some of these other people are pretty nutty. We've got one of the worst coming up with Kash Patel for the FBI. So the general popularity of the Trump administration is at this point sinking, and I don't see any sign that they're interested in recovering. So, this is all 2 years in advance, but
we have hope.
Keep hope alive.
Let me ask you, Don, what are your thoughts on the Trump letting out everyone from the January 6th insurrection, and what are the ramifications and the threat from what he did? I know one guy already got shot, and someone else was arrested. I mean, it's something else having all these people on the loose. Your thoughts?
Well, let's look at the kind of person who participates even in a particularly violent uprising. These people ain't your sweet aunt, and they're likely to get into more trouble. And I think, once again, even those people who did not see too much horror in the in the uprising of January 6th are themselves opposed to having let people off who participated in violence, and particularly against police. Right. So I think his overly broad stroke. He promised to let off the nonviolent people, and people want to go along with that. I don't particularly, but again, he's going too far, and I think he loses many of his people by letting off people who have fought police. So, the normal Republicans who vote for him and for others. There are normal Republicans. They're not all MAGA. I didn't like that idea. And you heard that even from some senators. It didn't stand in the way. There was nothing they could do about it. But once again, it's his overreach that is probably going to help him lose the House. Could go all the way to the Senate, depending on what he does. Some of these senators look like fools.
They do.
So.
Well, another thing that Trump seems to have done was to just, throw out a million things and make everybody crazy. But we've seen already a federal judge pull back, at least for a few days, on Trump's suspending of all federal funding, put a freeze on it. And then we see Rubio, who is now, I guess, I don't know who's going to run for that Senate seat, but he is Secretary of Affairs or whatever it's called these days. And he had to back down on a near total foreign aid freeze, issued some kind of humanitarian waiver. Are those examples of people of Trump going too far?
Well, these are clearly illegal acts. And the question is, will they be upheld as illegal, or will we get a turnaround when they go to court over this thing? You can't stop. In Trump's case, you can't stop money that's already been approved by the Congress and is supposed to be paid out. There may be some emergency law or something that somebody's going to find that permits at least some of what he's doing. But this is an area where, in the normal course of things, these actions would be stopped because they're clearly illegal. So again, that halts some of the damage. The problem that we face is how much damage is done during the interregnum, where we wait for all these things to go to court. And what's going to happen with the Supreme Court? Are they going to give him a total pass, or are they finally going to stand up, as they have on a couple of issues?
What's your sense on that?
Well, being an optimist, which I think you have to be in our business, I think this combination of Roberts and the woman Barrett,
that's our hope.
That their hope, and maybe even one or two of the others. I have no hope for Alito ever doing anything decent, nor Thomas. But
you haven't given up.
We will see how depraved they have all become, and I think the fact that he is in what should be his last term. Now that he's there, we hope. Yeah.
Let me throw a couple more at you. Like we have the situation where Mitch McConnell, who just kept sticking it to us since he's been in office, all of a sudden voting with two women, both the senators from Maine and Alaska, opposing the nominee for the head of the Department of Defense. Now, it's a little bit late, and I'm not thinking he's become a new person. But is that a good sign? And is it a good sign that I think it was a woman senator from maybe South Carolina or something challenged the Air Force's dropping of the Tuskegee Airmen film in their training program? So
and they brought it back.
Yeah, they did bring it back. So I'm just wondering, these are little signs. You even had that guy in South Carolina, what's his name, the senator, who we used to have hopes for. Even he was a little critical of some stuff, I think.
Mitch McConnell is a free man. He's in his last term. He's got a couple of years, and all through the time, he was a Republican leader and went along with Trump, although he has absolutely no use for Trump himself. He is somewhat of an institutionalist in his own way. And so I think we could see, I don't know if he is going to become the tip of the spear, but we see a potential opposition leader with McConnell. And particularly, not only does he dislike Trump and would probably seriously disagree with most of these appointments, but he also has a grudge against him because Trump has spoken very, very nasty things about his wife.
Who is, I think, Chinese, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to throw another one at you. How do you think Jack Smith will be remembered? They're after him right now. They're initiated a probe of the January 6th prosecutions. I kind of like Jack Smith, and I'm hoping someday he'll be on the Supreme Court. But what are your thoughts on how he'll be remembered?
Well, long term, he'll certainly be remembered as a good guy. Probably, I don't think they can do anything to him other than continue to yell about him if they think they have to do that. But I think the episode is going to fade. He is a good guy. He's certainly Supreme Court quality. How far he wants to go? Does he ever want to run for office? Hard to tell. So I think in the long run, I don't think they can damage him much, and unless again they wind up with some phony judge like that woman down in Florida doing her own kind of support for Trump, which is just a crime in itself. So
one of the things that has been in the news, and I think it's concerning to me, is a total wipeout of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion legislation, restrictions, all that kind of thing. And we've seen a capitulation on the part of all kind of large corporations, including McDonald's and Target. The one holdout, and I'm going to go renew my membership real soon.
Costco. Yeah. No, I wrote a column about that a couple of weeks ago. And I think this is a serious loss, and it's taken a toll already. We've seen college admissions of, let's use the old term, minorities, have dropped. You've got fewer blacks, Latinos. I don't think women are being discriminated against as badly as once, but certainly black and Latino admissions have already gone down. And in this world where DEI is now being abolished left and right, we're going to be hurting for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and what about the MAGA base? My wife told me earlier this morning, she's been coaching me sometimes before we go on the air, about a new website called leavingmaga.org. And they basically talk about how Trump and the MAGA has sustained a series of myths, intended perpetual desperation and panic. Your take on MAGA, that base, and will it stand or will it start to fade away?
Well, I think some of the things we talked about where the economics start to hurt may help increase that. I don't think I don't expect to see much of this done on, quote, moral principles, but some of that base has to get hip to the fact that he is unable, and in some cases really unwilling, to keep the promises that he made. And for the same reasons that I think we can take back the House if the trends that we see continue. Yes, it'll certainly weaken the MAGA base. They don't want higher prices. Now, there's a certain cruelty there that, part of the MAGA base loves the cruelty of the deportations and will relish Dr. Phil's movies about it. But once again, I got back to the almighty dollar, and he is bound to hurt the dollar. He's bound to hurt prices. And even though he's told not to, by some, not to impose these tariffs, we don't know how hard-headed he's going to be. But that's a glide path to economic catastrophe.
How about your thoughts on the stance by the Democrats going forward? A lot of them, there's some who have sort of capitulated like big corporate guys. There's some who are taking some kind of a critical stance. What do you think ought to be the position of Democrats? I mean, we ran on a lot of principled issues, in the past, saving democracy, the whole question of transgender care for youth, which is now restricted. What's your take on what would you suggest as an advisor to Democratic politicians, particularly in the House, but also anywhere, what they ought to do and how tough they ought to be?
I think we have to steel ourselves to the idea of setting aside, not abandoning, but setting aside issues like transgender, where we're clearly in a minority, and at least go along with the concept of deporting criminals, but not give in to the idea that simply because you have crossed the border without papers, that makes you automatically a criminal. That's their counter charge. But I think we have to zero in on the issues that are going to hurt them and not try to redefend or run again on some of these moral issues. I mean, I hate to say it. I have every sympathy for the whole transgender question, but the more we harp on that, the more we hurt ourselves. So it's a tough call. And I feel lousy saying set aside a moral issue, but we've got to focus more sharply on the issues that make him vulnerable, not the issues that make us vulnerable.
Well, give us how people can get your column each week, Don. How would they do that?
Send me an email with your email on it, and I'll sign them up. Send my email donrose65@AOL, and one way or another, within a few days to a week, they will start getting my column in the mail. In the meantime, if they're on Facebook, they can always see it on Monday afternoons, and it usually stays. I have an open posting on Facebook as well.
Don Rose, it's always a pleasure talking to you. We've been doing it off and on since probably '68 now.
Something like that.
And it's a pleasure, and I'll see you next month, if not before. I want to share with our listeners and our viewers that You can get last week's show at youtube.com/heartlandmedia. And we had two people from Kartemquin's Films who've made great documentaries over the years, Mark Garvey and Peter Kuttner. Check it out. And coming up, I have Shira Piven, her new movie with her brother, feature length about a guy dancing through World War II. The performance, she's coming on. Our friend Marguerite Horberg has been down in Cuba, and she's going to come on and talk about some concerts for Cuba coming up. And cousin Adam James with his sports report. Last time it was a report on the fires in L.A. He'll be on in 2 weeks, and he'll talk post-Super Bowl, more on basketball, and here comes baseball. We want to thank all the musicians, Kev Mo and Chic Streetman, and the people who were guests. We want to thank Matt B. We want to thank Lynn Orman. We want to thank Don Rose. And, of course, our other producers, Katie Hogan and Tom Clark. And then a little bit of thank you very much to son Hal Coltrane, Katie, and James, who is our engineer. You all continue to do good in the world. The world needs your good more than ever, and together we can make a difference. All power to the people. Over and out. We want to thank you for watching the Live from the Heartland show. New episodes air every Friday beginning at 9 a.m. Central Time. Episodes air each following Thursday on CAN TV, 9 p.m., in Sweet Home Chicago on Channel 21, or streaming everywhere else at cantv.org. Audio episodes go live on WLUW each Saturday, 9 a.m. on the left end of your dial at 88.7 FM, or streaming everywhere worldwide at WLUW.org. They're available on Apple and Spotify podcasts by looking up Live from the Heartland on either platform, and are also broadcast on Lumpin' Radio each Friday at 9 a.m. on 105.5 FM and streaming at lumpinradio.com. I'm Michael James, and I'm glad to have been your host. Until next time, remember, do good in the world because the world needs all the good that you do, that I do, that we do together. All power to the people. Over and out.
Come to Lynn, are you doing the best you can? Tell me, are you doing